Now, tough though it might be to believe, we've already had 4 years of the PlayStation 5's life cycle, suggesting that we're probably more than halfway towards the PlayStation 6. Oh, how time bloody flies, right? And as well acquainted as we all are with Sony's tremendous piece of hardware at this point in time, there are almost certainly some incredible features that you've forgotten about. So let's have a chat about them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and this is the PS5, 10 awesome features you forgot it had. Number 10. Use activity cards to boot into a specific mission. So let's kick off this list with a feature that gave a pretty hard sell to in the lead up to the PS5 launch, though have curiously said little about it ever since, and that is activity cards. The activities menu can be quickly accessed from the system's main menu and allows players to skip preambles like company logo videos and jump straight into a specific part of the game, say a particular level or mode. Better yet, activity cards can point you towards side missions and trophies and even track how far you've progressed through a given trophy. We've all got busy lives and want to spend as little time as humanly possible doing the admin work to get to the fun stuff, and so activity cards are a fantastic feature for cutting through the silly gumph and getting straight into where the good stuff is. Though it's certainly not a faultless feature and works better in some games than others, it's still maddening that Sony barely talks about this anymore. Number 9. Game Time Tracker. It's totally baffling that it took so long for Sony to implement a game time tracker on their consoles, especially considering that Nintendo hardware has been doing it for years and years. All the same, the PS5 finally allows players to quickly view their playtime of their entire games library by selecting their profile and moving over to the Games tab. There you'll see all your games with the total play hours listed, allowing you to celebrate or lament how long you've poured into your entire PS5 collection. Though the playtime clock only rounds up to the nearest hour, and some players have reported inaccurate readings over the years, it's still a neat feature to have, albeit one that Sony should have implemented when the PS3 launched. To call them late to the party really doesn't cut it here. Number 8. Double tap the PS button to view recent items. Sometimes the coolest features are the ones that are the most easily glossed over because Sony hasn't really done a good job of keeping them in players' minds. And in this instance, we're talking about the ability to double tap the PS5's home button, the PlayStation logo that's between the two thumbsticks, you might have seen it once or twice, to view your most recently viewed item. This could be an activity card or trophy while playing a game, a piece of news on the PS5 menu, or even an app like Spotify. It's a handy way to get back to something that you were messing around with earlier without needing to go through the rigmarole of bringing it up again from scratch. It might not be a game changer compared to some of the other features on this list, but it's still a nifty little time saver that will become pure muscle memory if you use it enough. Number 7. Voice commands. Though voice commands have been a system-level feature in games consoles for years, not to mention so much modern technology in general, it's easy to forget that the PS5 offers it at all, because it's tucked away in the console's system menu. Using the DualSense controller's inbuilt microphone, an external headset, or the PS5's HD camera that you can purchase separately, you're able to use voice commands to do a multitude of things, more or less hands-free. This includes searching for or opening a game or app, navigating the system menu, or controlling the media player. You'll need to say, "Hey PlayStation" first to ensure the console is actually paying attention to you, after which you can pretty much just talk about whatever you want to it, and sometimes it'll listen. Granted, this feature remains in preview mode on the PS5, ensuring the number of voice commands is fairly limited, but it's still a vital step for accessibility and one that can be tweaked to your preferences, along with the ability to provide feedback to Sony on how well it's working. Number 6. Disable trophy captures to save hard drive space. Now, given that the OG PS5 comes with a fairly stingy 825 gigabytes of hard drive space, which is just so weird to say in this current era. I remember, right, I downloaded the entire, I should say a friend, downloaded the entire SNES back catalogue of video games, right, and it came to under, 200 megabytes. That's crazy. A friend did that, not me. And by the way, the amount of usable storage on the PS5 is only 667 gigabytes. You'll certainly want to be mindful of how you can conserve those precious gigabytes for monstrously large titles like Call of Duty. And one incredibly easy way to do this is to disable trophy captures. By default, every time you pop a trophy, the PS5 will take a photo and record a high-quality video to commemorate the moment. And if you're a keen trophy hunter hoovering up potentially thousands of trophies per year, well, that hard drive space is quickly eaten up. Thankfully, Sony allows players to stop this in impressively granular fashion. In the Captures and Broadcasts menu, you can opt to turn off trophy screenshots and videos, and more to the point, you can even set it only to record certain trophy levels like Gold or Platinum. And just like that, you found an easy way to cut down on how much hard drive space you chew through on a weekly basis. Number 5. Customize system-wide controller preferences. Like many players, there's a good chance that you assume that you'll need to rely on individual games to allow you to change your controller preferences, but that's thankfully not quite the case. The PS5 itself offers global customization of various controller features, from the assignment of every single button on the DualSense to the intensity of the vibration and adaptive triggers. It goes without saying that this is a fantastic accessibility feature for those that need it, and quite fittingly can be found in the PS5's accessibility menu. It's also a massive time saver for anyone fed up with having to manually customize control schemes for each game individually, which, if you're playing a lot of games in a short period, can turn a seemingly minor annoyance into a pretty major one. However you want to control the game, this menu has you covered. Number 4. Spoiler warnings. Pretty much everybody hates being spoiled about a game that they're currently playing or are planning to play in the near future, and it's enough of a problem in today's very online world that the PS5 actually has some inbuilt features to combat it. In the PS5's Save Data and Game App Settings menu, you'll find a spoiler warning heading, where you're able to toggle a warning for any media, such as images or videos posted by friends from sections in games you haven't played yet. Better still, for added security, you can even set the PS5 to warn about media from specific sections of a game that the developer themselves have flagged as particular spoilerific. This is a fantastic feature to ensure that your feed isn't clogged up with videos of all the coolest moments from the latest games being played by your pals with more free time on their hands. There's certainly a wider discussion to be had about contemporary spoiler culture, but for the time being, this is a great way to keep your PS5 insulated from pesky spoilers. Number 3. Presets for difficulty, graphics, camera, subtitles, and more. Beyond the ability to customize your controller settings at a system-wide level, the PS5 also allows you to tweak a variety of presets to apply to all games. Back in the Save Data and Game App Settings menu, you can set the default difficulty, whether you'd like games to start in performance or resolution mode, your favorite camera angle, turn on subtitles, tinker with audio, and even permanently invert your camera. Thank God for that. This is something that's easy to take for granted once you've set it up, but it's a low-key game changer in terms of ensuring that all your preferred settings are set in stone before you even launch a new game. Considering how many titles don't let you turn subtitles on until you've sat through an opening cutscene, for instance, this is as much a god-tier accessibility feature as it is merely convenient for many others. Number 2. Instantly mute all audio with one button press. Sometimes you might want or need to instantly mute all sounds coming out of the PS5, but don't necessarily have the TV remote nearby. Well, don't worry, Sony has got you covered with this little known trick. By holding down the microphone button just below the PlayStation Home button, you might have seen it, for around 1 second, all PS5 system audio will be instantly muted, no matter if it's being played from a TV, your DualSense controller, or any other device like headphones. That's extremely convenient if you need to quickly shut the PS5 up for one of the many reasons that might arise. Whether the TV remote isn't close to reach or you've got limited mobility, it's a terrific feature to have, yet one that so many have no idea about whatsoever. And number 1, pin your games to the home screen. 4 years into the PS5's life, it's fair to say that most players are going to have a decently sized collection of video games, and there are surely a select few evergreen titles that you want to be able to access as quickly as possible. Thankfully, the PS5 allows you to pin games to your home menu by simply pressing the DualSense's Options button and selecting the Keep on Home option. This will ensure that the game in question is always on your home screen no matter how recently you've played it. Bear in mind, however, that you're limited to pinning just 5 games to the menu, so make sure you think carefully about which ones you might want hanging around your home screen in perpetuity. For those of us who regularly jump into smash-hit multiplayer games like Fortnite, Rocket League, Destiny 2 and so on with our pals, this is a cracking feature indeed.